Hey class, Prof. JC here. I'm excited about what we're going to talk about today. I think that what we're going to talk about today is really important for leadership. But just a quick reminder, this is a class where we're talking all about purpose. And those of you who've taken me before, you know how much I care about this subject of purpose, because I think that everything rises and falls on it. I think everything in your life, everything in your organization, when you know your purpose, you know your vision, you know your mission, everything else becomes easier, okay? Everything else becomes easier. I'm going to tell you why I'm so passionate about this. I'm just going to jump in and kind of share my own story with you. I live a pretty busy life. I have a lot of things on my plate, and I'm not complaining about that. I'm grateful for all of that. Time management has been very important for me. I don't know how to state this correctly. I've got ADD like you can't understand. I have ADD. Every single day I face it. I face resistance, that inner resistance. You know, some of you know what I'm talking about. If you read the book by Stephen Pressfield called The War of Art, and I didn't get that title wrong, it's called The War of Art. He talks a lot about this idea of resistance. And for any of you who are in creative endeavors, you understand this. You sit down, you've got a lot of work to do, but there's that inner resistance. So I wrestle with a lot of that every single day. The ADD, the resistance, a lot of things on my plate, a lot of things demanding time, my time. And so I have found that the only way to get everything done is through time management. And again, because I teach it, I think I do a pretty good job in my own personal life, understanding the PVM, right? The PVM, principles, values, purpose, vision, mission. So again, we're talking about purpose today. So you might say, Prof. JC, why in the world are we talking about time management? What does that have to do with purpose? Is it everything to do with purpose? You can't live your purpose. You can't lead on purpose. You can't lead other people through purpose. You can't lead an organization on purpose, through purpose, in purpose, whatever it is. You can't do purpose if you can't, and on a very basic level, manage your time well. So here's what I want to do today. There are a ton of articles out there that you can read and videos you can watch that will talk to you about time management tools. And all of those are really important, okay? And I would recommend that you keep those, and I would recommend that you research those, and you figure out what works best for you. I found what works best for me, but that's not what I'm here to talk about today. I want to talk about 5 mindsets surrounding time management. I think that's what I want to talk to you about today. Okay. Again, all the tools and the practical tools that are out there, you can find that within seconds. Okay. And if anybody wants to know, I'd be happy to walk you through what I do that works extremely well. But it was through trial and error, because what works for somebody else doesn't work for me. I have friends of mine who are very productive, very efficient, very effective, and they don't have a to-do list. I can't survive an hour without my to-do list. I've got it's I think it's right back there. Is that it? Yep. My black book right there. I live and die by that black book right there. And it literally has, for me, what I typically do is I map out the entire week. I know my yearly goals. I know my monthly goals. Well, actually, I know my yearly goals, and I know my quadrimester goals is what I call it. I divide my year up into 4 months. And then based on those goals, I build a system for each 4-month period. And then I calendar out that system. And then I just run the calendar. And then every single day, I just get in there and I work the system, right? Now, it takes a lot of time to build that system, but then once the system's built, I run the system, and then every week I sit down and just kind of map out. And then every day I map it out from about 6 a.m. when I get up to about 10 p.m. when I go to bed at night, 10 or 11 p.m. when I go to bed. Every hour is accounted for. I don't get everything done usually because I pack too much in there, but that's just how I run my own system. Anyway, you can figure that out for yourself. It's more important to me that you understand the mindset, because in your reading this week, it talks a little bit, like one paragraph, about time management. I wanted to dive in it because I think this is so important. You cannot live your purpose. You cannot live your purpose. You cannot live the organizational purpose. You can't lead other people toward purpose if you don't know how to manage your time. So let's talk about it right now. Okay. So number one, we're talking about the 5 mindsets surrounding time management. Number 1 is this. This should be an easy one. Know your purpose. Okay. So that's for you personally, or know the purpose. That means that's the organization, right? You need to know what the organization is about. When you get hired somewhere, you need to go in every day knowing here is what this organization is trying to get done, and here's my role in helping this organization get that job done, whatever that job is in. Okay? So you need to know your purpose, you need to know the purpose, and then here's also part of the first mindset as well. You've got to communicate your purpose, and you've got to communicate the purpose. So again, on an individual level, know your purpose, communicate your purpose, and I'll tell you why that's really important here in just a little bit. But that's just all, if you've got a partner, you've got a spouse, you've got parents, you've got kids, you've got friends, whatever, tell them your purpose, right? All of that's going to help them as they're trying to be better friends to you, better family members to you, better, partners, spouses, kids, whatever it is. When they know what you exist for, then they know how to fit in your life a little bit better. Okay, so that's for you on an individual level, but on the organizational level, you got to know the purpose. We already talked about that, but then you have to communicate the purpose. Leadership is helping other people move towards purpose. That's something that I keep talking about. Yes, there's a personal aspect to everything we're talking about this summer, but it's also about helping other people. Okay, so how do you do that? You communicate the purpose. You should be leaders every single week. You should be communicating the purpose to your people. Okay. You got to know what it is, and then you got to, communicate out. They should be able to spit it back to you verbatim. My organization exists because blah, 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 blah. I exist in this organization because blah, 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 right? That should just be the case, right? That will help you with time management, okay? That's number one. Know your purpose, know the purpose. Communicate your purpose, communicate the purpose. That's number one. Number two, begin with the end in mind. Stephen Covey from the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. If you've never read the book, get the book today. Add it to your summer reading list, or once you graduate from your program, get it on your next reading list. Get that book, read that book. It's timeless. Chapter 2, I believe it is, he talks about this idea of beginning with the end in mind. And so he goes deep into this idea of, okay, at the end of your life, you're having a funeral. And all these people are sitting around and they're asking the question, what did this guy accomplish? What do you want said about you, or what did this gal accomplish? What do you want said about you at the end of your life? That's basically what he's talking about there. Okay. So begin with the end in mind. So there's some of that. Again, on a personal level, that's how you do it, right? At the end of your life, you understand that there's going to be a funeral. A lot of people, or some people, or a little bit amount of people are going to gather around and they're going to talk about you. There's going to be an obituary that's written about you. About 5 paragraphs are going to be given to your life. Can you imagine that? If you live to be 75 years old, 5 paragraphs, and that's it, right? You might get a little website on legacy.com or something like that. And then people will go in and write about you. What is it you want said about you? Okay, so on a personal level, that's where you got to begin. And again, this is going to help with time management. We'll talk about this more in here just a little bit, but it will help you with time management. Now, on an organizational level, a leadership level, you got to communicate the vision. So beginning with the end in mind says, what is the end that we're trying to get to? And then you've got to communicate that. Okay. So we talked about in step 1, you got to communicate the purpose. You got to know the purpose. You got to communicate the purpose. Step 2 is you got to communicate the vision, right? This all goes back again. Everything rises and falls on your PVM. When you get that down, I promise you the rest of your life is going to get easier. Right? Because again, your principles are the rules that guide your life. Your values are the behaviors you want to see every single day. The purpose is why you exist, why your organization exists. Your vision is where you're going, where your organization is going, and your mission is how you're going to get there. It's all the steps you take to get there. Once you have that mapped out, then you just work the system. It's everything I'm talking about. And time management gets much easier because you know what you should be doing and what you should not be doing. We'll get to that here in just a second. So number 2, begin with the end in mind. That means you've got to, on a personal level, when you're thinking about how you manage your time, you're thinking about all the things that are vying for your attention at the end of your life, what's most important to you? And then number 2, you got to communicate the vision. Number 3, let your purpose guide your time. Let your purpose guide your time. Now, here's what I mean by that. Okay. If you look at a calendar, if you were like me and you mapped out, so I just did this because we're, now so my second quadrimester is May, June, July, August. And I'll be honest with you, I was way behind on it. So all of May, I was kind of scattered brain, but for June, July, and August, I've got it all mapped out. I know exactly what I need to do. Okay. Now I was sharing this with somebody the other day that the problem with my system is now I can look at my system and see what all of my time is going to go to this summer. And if I'll be honest with you, there's a lot of things on there, because I'm finishing up a doctorate right now. There's a lot of things on that system that I'm not excited about. I'm not excited about at all. Okay. Because it's the doctorate, but I got to get it. It's just an important thing I got to do. I'm in the dissertation phase. No one wants to write a dissertation. It's just part of it. I could quit tomorrow if I wanted to, but I'm not going to do that. Right. So this whole summer is going to be taken up, instead of days kayaking and doing trainings and putting together teaching and stuff like this. That's a lot of fun. It's going to be spent with my butt in the seat, writing, right? That's all I'm going to be. That's what I did today. It's what I'm going to have to do tomorrow. I'm going to do it more this weekend. I'm traveling next week, but I'll be on the plane doing more writing. And that's just how it works. Okay. Now, the reason why I'm saying that is because some of you, if you were to map out your life and look at where you spend your time, it would frustrate the heck out of you, because you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. Right. And so you're spending time doing this and doing it, and with these people over here, and you're wondering why you're exhausted, you're unhappy, you're unfulfilled. Right. So what I would say this is, when you map out your schedule and you map out your life, you calendar it out. What are the things that bring you happiness, that bring you joy? Those are probably things that are guiding you towards your purpose. And so what I'm saying is, when you're calendaring out your life, let your purpose guide you. When you're planning out your time management, let your purpose guide you. Okay. It's those things that light your fire, that excite you. And I'm not just talking about things that are not work related. For me, I love being in the sun. I love to kayak. I love to put me on a boat or a jet ski, anywhere in the water with sun, and I'm happier than I'll get out. Right. So for you, it may be different. I don't know what that looks like for you. Maybe it's cooking in the kitchen. Maybe it's exercising at the gym. Maybe it's surfing. Maybe it's riding motorcycles. Maybe it's reading a book, having a big glass of wine and a really good meal, and cooking that meal. I don't know, whatever it is for you. Okay. Spending time with your significant other, walks on the beach. Okay. But all of that's important too. You need that on your calendar. But what I'm talking about are those things in your work world, right? Let your purpose guide you. Right? The work that you do, as much as you can, be guided by that. But then here's the leadership aspect of that. Let their purpose guide them. When you're in a position of leadership, the most important thing that you can do to help other people reach their full and highest potential is to let their purpose guide them. Now, I know not every job allows for that. Okay. But in every job, I believe that you can find a way, even if it's for 1 hour a day. Say, during this hour, I want you to go full bore in on your purpose. I know that this lights your fire. This excites you more than anything else. And I want you, for 1 hour a day, I want to make sure that you're doing that. Now, the other 7 hours, they may not be as fun, but I want you just to be thinking about that 1 hour a day, 8 hours a week. Map that out for them, what that could look like. Okay. Now, and if you can give them more, then give them more. Let them spend 4 hours a day on their purpose, whatever it is. People will give you the productivity that you want. They're going to give you the engagement that you need as a leader if they're working in their purpose. Okay. So let your purpose guide your time, but from a leadership perspective, from a management perspective, the most that you can, put people in position. Jim Collins talks about this in the book, Good to Great. If you've never read that book, get that book right there with 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. He talks about this, having the right people on the bus, and then the right people in the right seats on the bus. Okay, that is hugely important. Get people going where they're extremely passionate about it. If you've got a person who is really, like me, people-oriented, HR, soft skills, but you've got them, working over here in finance or accounting, that may not work. And the same, and vice versa. You got someone who really loves the numbers, loves crunching the numbers, and really gets excited about that. And then maybe they prefer to be in an office with the door shut, and they don't want to be around people all the time, right? And you've got them over here in a people job, right? And you can clearly see, yes, you gave them the people job because they needed a job and you needed a person, but now the organization's growing, and now you need a numbers person over here, and you can hire someone else over here who's passionate about this. Switch them up. Let people run on their purpose. People will be more productive, and that's the whole goal of time management, right? Is to be more productive, more efficient. People will be more productive if they're working inside their purpose. Let your purpose guide your time. Let other people's, the best you can from a leadership perspective, let their purpose guide their time. Number 4, delegate everything you possibly can. Everything you possibly can in life. Okay. And it's something I'm learning to do myself. Is just everything I don't need to do, everything I'm not good at, I'm just giving it away. And sometimes you have to pay people to get things done. If you can afford it, try to do that. Yeah. Sometimes you just got to get rid of something. There's probably something you're working on right now that you shouldn't be working on. It's not giving you the rewards you need. There's no real end goal to it, right? It's not fitting into your purpose and you're spending time on it. But if it's something you need to do, but it's something you can't stand doing, as much as you can, delegate that away, right? If I could, with honesty and integrity, I'd delegate my dissertation away, but I can't, right? I know I could, but that would be done without integrity. And that's not, we're not going to go there. But that's the one thing on my plate right now that I've got to do it, right? So sometimes we got those things that we have to do, but everything else, right? Try to delegate it. Automatic, bill payments. That's something I found has been hugely important, right? I find out, when are all the days that the checks and the money enter my account and make sure that I'm just paying out on those days, right? But then here's from the leadership perspective, empower other people to delegate everything that they can do. Okay. I've worked for bosses before who just don't understand this. It's almost like they get excited when you're working outside of your purpose. Don't be that kind of boss. Okay. It goes back to what we talked about in number 3, let your purpose guide you, but also for other people, let their purpose guide them. But again, the most that you can, delegate everything you possibly can, empower others to delegate everything that they can as well. And then number 5, okay. And this is where it gets a little bit more practical. Focus means saying no. Steve Jobs has got a great video out there on YouTube. If you can find it, all you have to do is Google Steve Jobs focus, and it's going to come up. There'll be 2 videos that come up. One is Steve Jobs giving a speech back when he took over Apple. I think it was 1997 when he came back to Apple. Phenomenal speech, and why they're getting rid of this and getting rid of this and getting rid of this, and basically saying all of it's BS, right? All of it's stuff we don't need. It's good stuff, but it's not helping us get to where we want to go, so we got to get rid of it. And he makes that statement, focus is about saying no. Then there's another video that will come up, which is Johnny Ives, who was one of the senior designers, I think, of the Mac computer and the iPhone and all that kind of stuff. And he talks about what it was like to work with Steve Jobs. And one of the most important things he says in this video is he said Steve Jobs was one of the most focused people he ever knew, and he helped to focus everybody else around him. Right? That was the thing that he did as a leader, was he said, I'm going to help focus everybody. That's your job as a leader as well. You've got to get focused, and that means you have to say no. Just the other day, I had a former student in the leadership program, incredible student, doing great things up in Orange County right now. I connected him. I'm really proud of this guy. I connected him with the consulting firm that I first started working for a couple of years ago. It's not the one I'm working for now, and he's now the director of operations for them. I'm so excited for him. He's doing an incredible job. Anyway, he had a great contact for me the other day, and so he sent an email between the 2 of us, and the guy said, hey, he named a time. He said, let's get together, Friday, blah, blah, blah. And I looked at my calendar. I said, I can't do it. I've mapped out my whole system. My doctorate means everything to me. And so I've already 3 different people this summer, I've said, hey, I can't meet with you. Now, after Labor Day, I'll send you an email. Now, the one guy from Orange County, he's a businessman, so he gets it. And he said, hey, absolutely, I totally get it. No problem. Reach out after Labor Day and we'll set something up. But that only comes because I know what I'm supposed to be doing. I know my purpose. I know my vision. I know my mission. I know what the system is in front of me. And so I'm able to say no to everything else. Say, I don't have time for that. Right. Now, that's not going to be the same for, students, obviously, because this is something I love to do. But all the other distractions out there, and the same goes for you. You've got to be able to do that. Focus means saying no. So if you're going to be on your purpose, if you're going to be moving the organization towards your purpose, that means that you say no to all the services that you could be doing, you shouldn't be doing. All the products that you could be creating that you shouldn't be creating, you say no to all of them because you know what your purpose is. Once you know all this, again, I'm talking about the mindset of time management. Okay. Now, again, if you wanted to, I could give you a whole class and I could showcase for you what I do and what other people that I know do to kind of manage their time. And we could do a whole hour class on that, but that's not what this is for. I'm talking about the mindset. And the mindset is this, just a quick recap. No, I'm not going to recap. I want to make sure, because some of you are going to go on here and just listen to the recap and then answer the questions. I'm not going to do that. You got to listen to the whole podcast. Okay. But that last one's really important. Focus means that you say no to everything. So here's what I want you to do. Okay. So this is going to be fun. Okay. I'm actually excited about this one because this is going to be kind of interactive, and I'm going to share what I hear from you. So just so I know that you watch this video, I need you to write down the five elements that I just shared with you. Okay. What are the 5 mindsets surrounding time management for leaders? The second question, why are these mindsets important? And again, just write out the mindset. You don't need to write a paragraph. Okay, just write out the mindset. Here's what it is: mindset 1, mindset 2, mindset 3, mindset 4. Write it out. And then for question number 2, why is this important? Okay, based on everything you just listened to, don't give me some crap answer. Okay, don't make something up because of what you watched. Okay, and then number 3, here's what I want you to do: tell me 3 tips that you have for time management. 3 tips that you have for time management. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all those together, and I'm going to put them together, especially if I hear something over and over. And then I'm going to send those out to the class and say, hey, here's what I heard from the class. Here's what the class is saying. And I'll send that in an email to class, and maybe you'll pick 1 or 2 of those from your classmates and say, hey, that sounds good to me. So I want you to tell me. So again, give me the 5 mindsets. That's number 1. Number 2, tell me why these 5 mindsets are important. And then for the third question, I want you to tell me 3 tips that you have for time management, and I'll share those with the class. Hey, everybody, thanks so much for listening. Thanks for your engagement. You are an incredible class. I wish we could be meeting in person. I got a feeling we'd have a lot of great conversation. Let's keep up the great work. I'll see you in the next episode. Take care.